Welcome to another edition of Ask Pastor Keith. Pastor Keith, we have a very interesting question today. When Jesus was crucified for 3 days, what did he do before he resurrected?
Yeah, that is a very interesting question. Short answer, we don't know. Okay, and long answer, there are a lot of suggestions about that. Some people are very dogmatic about this, which I don't think is healthy, because First Peter chapter 3 talks briefly about that. But main point is that Jesus, while he was in the body, ministered to people, and when he was crucified in the spirit, he ministered to the spirit as well. That passage can pose a lot of problem because that time element is not evident in that passage. So the connector is very loose. It is unhealthy to build a doctrine or theology on an obscure passage. I say obscure because it seems like Peter is referring to passages in Book of Enoch, the first Enoch especially. And Jude have some reference there too as well. Book of Enoch is not a part of Scripture, and it was never included in Jewish literature, Jewish Bible either. So as Protestant believers, that we cannot really diverge into that as a part of theological material. So now, when I say obscure, because there does not seem to be a cross-reference within the Scripture. Some people try to pull it from Genesis, before the days of Noah, because First Peter talks about Noah, and is that then is the spirit of people perished, or is offspring between the angel and the daughters of men, and it just opens a whole can of worms that becomes a speculation rather than a very solid theology, because obviously the Genesis point, neither the First Peter or even Jude, their point was not to delve into this identifying the giants and so on and so forth. So we come back to this. Jesus mentioned this in John chapter 10. He says he has another sheep that he needs to go and enfold in. That seemed like more of Gentiles beside the Jews rather than this type of time traveling, so to speak. So why does that make that? Why is not that important? Is this when the spirit is no longer in the time-space dimension, and Jesus, the Peter says it right there. To the Lord, is 1 day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like 1 day. It's not Jesus doesn't need 3 days to minister to these angels or these fallen angels or spirits or whatever call it. So now for the people living in 21st century, having the 3 days as Jesus buried in the earth and so on and so forth, meanwhile what did he do? And all those questions are kind of pointless because, Scripture says that he was in the Spirit and all that. So my answer, as I said, in short answer is we don't know. It doesn't specify. And only, piece of some information that's close to that event, if we take that as a time-sensitive connector in First Peter, then it talks about Jesus ministering to the spirits, and that's about all we have, and we cannot go beyond that. And this becomes very complicated when you unpack the language of Enoch, Book of Enoch, about watchers, and are they the ones of sons of the sons of God that Genesis is talking about, and it just becomes a very messy endeavor. So once again, it's an interesting question, but we don't really have a clear answer to that. We have a general answer if we take that as a time element in First Peter, that Jesus ministered, declared his victory to the spirits in prison. We don't know exactly what those spirits are. That's my answer.
Thank you, Pastor Keith. Join us next time for another edition of Ask Pastor Keith.